Hey, this is Evan Markatz, dating and relationship coach for smart, strong, successful women, your personal trainer for love. Welcome back to the Love You podcast, where you can learn everything there is to know about dating, relationships, sex, and men from a man's point of view. Find a relationship that makes you feel safe, heard, and understood. All that good stuff. This is episode 391 for those keeping track at home. And today's topic is something that's really close to home for me. It is 5 ways to be a great date. In the thumbnail, I held up a book by David Brooks, How to Know a Person. Influential on me, should be influential on you. I would suggest you pick it up if you have an opportunity. Before we dive into that, I just want to say the Extraordinary Love series went so well. I'm so excited at how people received that and the response to it and the volume of people who were there and the number of kind words that I received via email. So if you are new here, the new thing that I've launched is called the Extraordinary Love series. It's a monthly Zoom call with a live Q&A specifically for high-achieving women who want to attract high-value men. Last month's call, as I said, was pretty great. This one, hopefully we take it to the next level because there's going to be a lot more people there. Word is out on the street, so there's going to be a lot more people there. And the topic is, pretty simply and vaguely, top 3 biggest mistakes that women make in dating. Go to www.extraordinaryloveseries.com to register. If you are a regular listener, don't forget to subscribe on Apple or Spotify, leave us a positive review, tell a friend, just do something proactive. I beg of you, something. I give and I give and I give. I'm like your mom, guilt trip, do something. So 5 ways for women to be a great date. And one of the things I've noticed is most people, this is not about you listening, even though it's always about you listening, but most people are attuned to what other people do wrong. That's our default, right? I'll talk to a woman about dating and she will give me a laundry list of all the things that men do and say wrong, based on the invisible rule book in her head, which we'll talk about in upcoming episodes. So we're very attuned to what people do wrong. Very few people go into a date thinking, how can I do a better job? Could you imagine a guy going into a date thinking, how can I be a better date? What's going to make her happy? If I took a straw poll of all the women in the universe, how would I show up here tonight? So as a dating coach, I largely know what women want. They've told me loud and clear over the years what you would want to see in a guy. Similarly, it's not that any of the things that you want to see guys do, call, plan, pay, be polite to the waiter, maitre d', ask you questions, listen to your answers, don't hijack the conversation, don't talk trash about other women, very basic stuff. These are all very achievable goals for guys, but most of them don't inquire. The reason I like coaching women is because you are inquiring. You're thinking, what can I do better? And most women have never actually stopped to think, what could I do better? They're just thinking, how could I make men do better? How could I stop guys from doing stupid things? So this is an opportunity to really contemplate how you show up on dates, and are you being the best version of you that's going to have the most positive affect on a date? Because you're the most powerful person if you go on a date and every single guy at the end of the date is like, oh my God, that was the best date I ever had. Right? It's like going out and getting a dozen job offers. You might not want all of them, but it certainly gives you leverage. It also creates a feeling of confidence and warmth and positivity in the world. So there's not a downside to being a great date. So first thing we're going to talk about, and only 5 bullet points today, is make him feel good about himself. It sounds dumb. A lot of this stuff might even sound dumb. But remember, the advice is always about effective versus ineffective. Does it work or does it not work? So if we understand that a woman wants a guy to make her feel safe, heard, and understood, and he demonstrates it by picking up the check and listening, right, and validating and really being attentive to her needs, that would make a guy a good date. What makes you a good date is making a guy feel good, because men want to feel accepted, appreciated, and admired. And a lot of people go into dates metaphorically with their sort of arms crossed. All right, buddy, you got 90 minutes. What's wrong with you? Do you have a bad relationship with your ex, bad relationship with your mom, bad relationship with your kids? Are you a player? Are you a drug addict? Are you going to ask me if I've ever had a threesome and if I'm into polyamory? Like, all these things are kind of coursing through your brain instead of how could I be curious about this person and get to know him? It doesn't mean kissing his ass. It doesn't mean stroking his ego. It's very simple things like looking him in the eye when he talks and putting away your iPhone. It might mean touching him on the hand if you find him attractive, or touching him on the knee, or squeezing his arm when you walk down the street, asking him if he works out. Tiny little things like that go a very, very long way, right? But most people don't do this. Right? Tiny compliments. And a lot of times women don't even realize, like, guys often don't ask you out a second time because they can't tell that you like them because you don't give them any signals. So it might just be something as, oh my God, I didn't notice from your photos how blue your eyes were, or that outfit really works for you, or great shoes, or what a cool restaurant, how'd you find it, or that was a funny story. Right? Any little thing. Men are just looking for your attention the way they used to look for their mom's attention. They just want validation. And so it costs so little to give a guy validation on the first date that it's criminal not to. Now, again, I don't want you to get too ahead of yourself. I'm not telling you to go over the top with this, right? Nor am I asking you to lie in any way, shape, or form. I just think a lot of us have kind of compliments that we keep in our head that we don't say out loud. And being good at making someone feel good is a superpower. Number 2, be genuinely interested in him. It's not exactly the same thing. One is making him feel good. Being genuinely interested means being genuinely interested. I think we go on dating and it feels like duty dating. We have to be there. Oh my God, I've had this conversation so many times. What do you do? Where do you live? How old are you? What do you do for fun? Where are you traveling? What are you streaming? And that's very, very basic way that people interact on dates. And again, it's not bad. It's common. Men do it. Women do it. You might hear that and be like, well, yeah, so of course that's what I talk about. But the truth is, there's a better way to get to know someone. And it means by being genuinely curious about him. I quote Dale Carnegie, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get people interested in you. Right? So instead of focusing on what's his deal, what's wrong with him, what are his red flags, asking him open-ended questions and kind of just seeing where those roads go down. Right? If he says he's into windsurfing, right? Your answer isn't, well, I like jogging. It's what got you into that, right? It's being genuinely curious about him, even if it's not your thing. When people talk about what they're passionate about, you see a completely different side of them. I could talk about the things I'm passionate about. I don't think it would be particularly interesting, and that's not what this podcast is for, but I'm passionate about learning. Right? I'm passionate about how the world is changing and identity. I'm passionate about my business, being a good coach, being a good husband and father. Right? Any parent's going to be probably passionate about their kids. So when you inquire with someone, it's not just the surface level stuff, which is where most people go. What do you do? What are you streaming? Where are you traveling? It's really more about feelings, hopes, dreams, aspirations, disappointments, friends, family, relationships, including past relationships, right? Being curious, not to try to find out what's wrong with him, but genuinely curious. Oh, you said you've been divorced for 2 years. How has that been for you? I know I've been through that. That's really rough. How's your experience been? And he might say, no, we're really good. We're co-parents. Or he might say, oh my God, it's been a nightmare. I would not wish it on my worst enemy. And instead of you thinking, oh, he's talking trash about his ex-wife, maybe finding some sympathy for his experience the way you want him to be sympathetic to your experience. So curiosity, goes a very, very long way in getting people to like you. And that's Dale Carnegie from the 1930s. Still relevant today. Number 3, create a comfortable atmosphere. So a lot of people put way too much pressure on dates. This is men and women, right? Maybe men are more focused on getting laid, and women are more focused on, is this guy going to be my future husband? But either way, we come into a date with an agenda, what we're trying to figure out, what we're trying to make happen. Generally, a woman's agenda is, I don't want to get hurt, I don't want to waste time, I want to figure out what this guy's deal is in a very short period of time. But then those dates turn into interrogations, and interrogation is not a comfortable environment. That's why I often describe a good first date like sitting next to a stranger on an airplane, because nobody has an agenda. Nobody has ever spent too much time worrying about, as I've said, whether the guy in 22B is her soulmate or not. She's just asking where he's going. Is it business or pleasure? Is he seeing family? Has he ever been to Denver before? What book is he reading? What movie is he watching? And next thing you know, by the end of a 3-hour flight, you're besties. That kind of stuff happens all the time because we're not coming to the date trying to make any more of it. Right? You're more likely to have a good connection if you put aside what you're trying to figure out on the date and you're just present on the date. And this is the way you show up in other aspects. Right? When you think about how you are with your best girlfriends, you don't want anything from them, so you're the best version of you. But sometimes when we're at business networking events, we're trying to angle for who could help us. Dating, sort of the same idea. When we're too strategic about the whole process feels inorganic, forced, and a lot less fun when you're interviewing the guy for the part of husband or he's interviewing for the part of wife. So try not to overthink the date. It's just a date. It's 2 hours of your life. You've gone to mediocre meals, you've seen mediocre movies. Going on a mediocre date, if that's the worst case scenario, is really not that bad. And if you're present with the guy, I find that if you treat the guy with compassion and kindness and curiosity, just by you being more pleasant makes him more pleasant. And by you being more shut down and skeptical, it'll make him more shut down and skeptical because we feed off of each other's energy. So really just going in with a blank slate, trying to see the best in people makes for the best possible dating technique. Number 4, this is from David Brooks. See the person beneath the surface. So in his book, Brooks argues that people crave to be deeply understood, not just seen on a superficial level. And many dates fail because people don't get past the small talk. This is what I was alluding to a couple minutes ago. So if you're asking him what he does, a better question is, why do you do what you do? Right? That's completely different. Not what do you do. Why do you do what you do? What do you love about it? What keeps you going? And if you discover he doesn't love what he does anymore, what would you like to do if you had anything in the world? Like if you weren't bound to this job and this career and this income and you could do anything, what would you do? And now you're just taking a detour through the woods and you're sort of seeing where it takes you. These are the moments of real connection because it's not a QA. I can't tell you how many women complain about how men, will talk about themselves on dates, right? They'll talk and talk and talk and they don't ask enough questions. But it's because a lot of the way women date is by dating like she's a journalist, asking him questions that he's supposed to answer to reveal his character. And she never inserts herself into the equation, right? And says the interesting thing that takes the story in a different direction. Now he's asking you a question. Dating is not question, answer, question, answer. No conversation is really question, answer, apart from a journalist. Right? So if you go into dates thinking, what questions do I ask? You're already doing it wrong, right? You've never had a scripted conversation in your entire life. You've never had to come in with a cheat sheet to talk to your best friend. Let's not make too big a deal about this. There's never more to talk about than when you're meeting a stranger. You literally have everything under the sun that you could talk about. So going beneath the surface and finding out people's why is so much more interesting than finding out people's what. What do you do? What kind of dog do you have? Where did you go? Try to get into the why. Last but not least, end on a high note. So Dale Carnegie very famously said that people remember how you make them feel, right? And that has been taught to salespeople forever. People remember how you make them feel, which is why the energy of a date is more like being the hostess of a dinner party or a concierge at a hotel, right? It's not the obsequious part, but rather the warm part, the I want you to be happy part, the, again, there's just a positive energy that comes with that. So you can create that. A lot of people, again, both go into dates because they're all jaded. You're going out with strangers. We've all been ghosted. We're all busy. We're all working. We're all stuck in texting hell. And so imagine someone breaks through and brings the sunshine. I did a podcast interview with Dr. Adam Dorsey recently. And again, I mentioned it before. I'll mention it again. This guy was like sunshine. He read my bio. He listened to my podcast before we got on the phone. He knew stuff about me. It was like I was already talking to a friend because he made me feel like a friend. Now that's over the top. Most people don't do that. But imagine you could. Imagine you could make him feel at the end of the night, I impressed her, right? She liked the restaurant I chose. She liked the stories I told. She felt good about being with me. She gave me enough positive reinforcement that I was doing a good job. And then he was comfortable enough with you at the end of the night because of how the date went to, presuming it's a Saturday night dinner date, which is what I recommend, to kiss you at the end of the night, and you kiss him back because he's cute enough and that's what he earned. Now, could you imagine a guy who felt great about himself, great about you, kissing you at the end of the night and not coming back for another date? It's not that it's impossible. It's happened before, right? But in general, if you leave someone in a better place than you found them, they're going to want more of that feeling. Honestly, it's what I hope you get out of this podcast, that you get something out of this podcast where this guy really sees me. This guy really understands me. This guy has been listening to women for over 20 years. He's not just talking out of his ass. He's not just being a self-aggrandizing douchebag. Say what you will. There's something to how you make people feel. And so making some guy feel like, hey, you did a great job tonight, buddy. You don't have to say it like that. But what lets him know is the genuine hug, kiss, I had a great time. Yes, I'd be open to seeing you again. And now the ball's in his court. You don't have to thank him the next day. When can I see you again? You're not chasing. Give him a great end of the date, right? In my opinion, a kiss is a great end of the date. You give him a great kiss, he knows what to do the next day. Right? That's always going to leave people coming back for more and letting him know that it was a job well done. Great night, great planning, great conversation. Thank you so much. Why would a guy not want to do that again? So if you can make dating to be enjoyable, authentic, fun, playful, positive, is it any surprise that you're going to have a better dating experience than your friend who's going into every date metaphorically with her arms crossed trying to find out what's wrong with this latest jerk? Of course this stuff works. Of course this stuff works. We just have to be present. We have to create the conditions to make this happen because it doesn't happen naturally. So put yourself in the position to say, hey, no matter who the guy is, I don't care if he's average. I don't care if I'm ever going to see him again. How can I make tonight a great night? That's what I used to do when I was single. That's what I recommend that you do now that you're single. And in so doing, it'll make everybody that you interact with feel good about you, dating, the dating platform you're on, right? There's no downside to being curious and warm and nice to people, in my opinion. My name is Evan Markatz. This is the Love You Podcast. If you've enjoyed today's podcast, please go to www.extraordinaryloveseries.com to register for the 3 biggest mistakes that women make when it comes to dating. After that, I will be doing a live Q&A to answer all of your most pressing dating and relationship questions on that subject specifically, the 3 mistakes. It's not it's not everything under the sun. We only have a very short period of time to answer questions because everybody's busy. Your time is valuable. And so I'm giving you an hour every single month to make sure that I'm answering your most pressing dating and relationship questions. Go to www.extraordinaryloveseries.com to put in your name, email address, and phone number. If you are a regular podcast listener, leave us a positive review on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. And finally, if you would like to turbocharge your love life and have me whispering in your ear and holding your hand through this crazy dating process, because it is challenging, especially if you're in your late 30s and you want to have a family, or you're on the other side of that 40s, 50s, 60s and starting over and overwhelmed by these options and don't trust yourself, don't trust men kind of thing. That's exactly what coaching is for. Go to evanmarckatz.com/now, book a time on my calendar, and I look forward to getting to know you better. I love you. I appreciate you. And I thank you so much for being here. Talk soon. Bye-bye.